What about, I was just going to mention, in terms of self-esteem, how many kids, and even adults for that matter, have self-esteem issues living with ADHD?
Unfortunately, because people with learning challenges suffer a great deal in terms of social skills and other things, their self-esteem is the first thing to go, and they don't have that much to begin with because early on in childhood, they have this self-evaluator inside that will evaluate themselves in comparison to other kids in school, and they'll find out that they just don't make the mark. So it's really important to accentuate as a parent and also as a teacher what kids do right on a daily basis so they have a shot at feeling better at themselves.
And it's important to get that self-esteem established and maintain it through their lives.
Exactly, because it's one thing a behavioral therapist will say, oh, that's great, you developed a book that will boost the self-esteem, but it's another thing to maintain it, and these diary pages are to be used over and over again till the person that's filling them out starts to feel better about themselves based on recognizing what they do right and goals that they're meeting in terms of behaviors and so on.
Are those part of some practical steps then for people with ADHD to boost self-esteem?
Very much, but there's specific steps that parents need to follow, and there are 4 basic simple ones that parents can use that are discussed in the book to help the kids have the best shot at feeling really good about themselves. And I often talk about Albert Einstein and, you know, the Olympic swimmer Michael Phelps here. Michael Phelps and Albert Einstein are 2 legendary role models that have suffered with the same disorder. And the trick of the matter is that when a parent does things right and tries on different interests for the child, eventually something's going to catch, and that can turn into a real strength, and that can hopefully turn into a passion. So we want kids with disorders, whatever they are, to find interests that make them happy, that they don't have to labor over so much, so that eventually it can have a shot at becoming a strength.
Absolutely. Those are a couple of big names suffering from that, and there's probably many more people out there that have ADHD
right.
that have gone on to great success. So I guess it's about finding those niches and finding what they're successful at and promoting that. Yeah.
That's not to say that they're not going to be aggravated by their lack of organization or that they're going to be outlandish in certain things and how they behave at times. You know, Michael Phelps was caught smoking pot, so he was taken out of the Olympics for 3 months, and this type of behavior is very common amongst people. Albert Einstein got kicked out of high school, which he was pleased about because he hated it there. So, you know, there's a price to be paid, but on the other hand, people with attention deficit disorder, whether they're hyper or not, are usually not the average Yogi Bear, and they're going to supersede most people in the areas that they're very interested in. So if parents can hold on and, you know, put that watch down and know that things are going to take a lot longer for the kids to develop into, then the kids have a better shot at feeling better about themselves. And that's why I wrote this book, because even the small things can add up in terms of a positive way, not just the negative thing. And I want the parents to really know their kids much better than they do. And there's even a section in the book that talks about if my kid could really speak his mind, what would they say? And I give examples, and then the kids can check off which ones they feel but haven't been able to verbalize. And the parents will have a real good bird's-eye view into how their kid is really thinking and feeling. And so far, the book has been very successful.
How important is it to have an open relationship and a successful, I guess, parenting relationship with your children that suffer from ADHD? Extremely,
because kids with learning problems that come with ADD have trouble verbalizing things. So the closer, some of the clients that I have in particular, the parents are not the parents that I'm concerned about. These parents are very concerned about their kids doing okay in school and making it socially. And it's not that these aren't the parents that I'm really worried about. It's the parents that don't come to my coaching sessions, that don't come to my lectures, that don't come to the teleconferences, and don't buy the books. And very often, unfortunately, it can be any group of people that can fall under, because there is a stigma, unfortunately, to ADD. And since it doesn't go away, unless it's really worked with and dealt with, it can be a real issue as the child turns into an adult.
Who's more susceptible or more common to have ADHD? Is it boys or girls? And what are a couple of symptoms?
Well, that's a very interesting, smart question, David. Whatever the case may be, it's mostly common in boys. And to say that many women don't get it, many girls don't get it. But for some reason, the way the genetics is, boys have ADD more often. And the standard symptoms of ADD is if they just have ADD without the hyperactive part, then they'll just have a hard time paying attention. They'll be impulsive. Their short-term memory will be not up to the average short-term memory. And their frustration tolerance will be fairly minimal. And instead of patting someone, they may hit them on the shoulder. Or instead of giving something to someone, they may throw it. Or instead of raising their hand in class, they may yell out the answer. So the impulsivity and the frustration tolerance are all factors that are very common to people with attention deficit.
Now,
many years ago, it wasn't known about this, and kids like Albert Einstein were kicked out of school, or Dustin Hoffman, the famous actor, and people just had to, deal with it. But now we're much more aware of it since the 1970s. So more medication has been developed, and there have been, very private schools now that are there. Do you have schools like that where you are also, or no?
Well, I'm not 100%, but I know that it probably depends on what school district you're in. Actually, maybe one of the callers out there, maybe our listeners, I should say, could fill us in on that if they have any children suffering from AD or ADHD. They could let us know, because I'm not 100% sure myself. It's been a while since I've been in school myself. But I know when I was a child, it wasn't as prevalent. I know as much about ADHD. So we'd have to. I'm sure there have been gains in that in our province here. ADHD Success Solutions for Boosting Self-Esteem, the Diary Method, ages 7 to 17. So it's for youth, children, and of course their parents as a workbook to help deal with ADHD. And they can get that through the website.
That's correct. ReachBeyondADD.com.
And it's an e-book. And what's the cost on that?
It's $24.95, and it's 166 pages, and much of it is to be scanned, so it can be used over and over again.
Fantastic. So it's a valuable tool for parents and children out there suffering from ADHD. Kerin Bellak Adams, thanks so much for your time today. It was nice to talk to you.
It was my pleasure.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Kerin Bellak Adams was our guest, joining us on the line from New Jersey. As we mentioned, she is the author of a new workbook, ADHD Success Solutions for Boost Self-Esteem, the Diary Method. And you can access that book electronically online. You can buy it at www.reachbeyondadd.com. We're going to take a 1:30 news break here on CFAX.